Tonight on Debated Amongst Friends, NBA Week in Review, including the Bucks deciding to stop kidding around, All-Star snubberies, and finger pointing in Cleveland as the Cavs continue to struggle. NFL Conference Championship Weekend recap, coaching changes, and more starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Debate Amongst Friends live on YouTube and on Twitch. This is the 89th edition of the Sports Podcast on January 24th, 2018. I am your host with the most, and I am not kidding around. I am the Professor John Gotti, and always by my side, he is the Chris Hero of elbow strikes himself, the master of the B-dorms. It's Doc Ocean. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, and I'm also ready to stop kidding around also and get this debate going.
Did you like what I did with the Chris Hero reference?
I mean, that's really good.
Good.
That's better than some of the other things you come up with. That's good.
What?
You're making progress.
What?
Making
the
progress.
Real master of styles?
Wow. Can't believe you went there.
They don't want none?
They
But
don't want none.
speaking of they don't want none, let's get ourselves started. The Milwaukee Bucks said they want no more of a man named Kidd. Number 5 for your New Jersey Nets senior October. He is out as the head coach.
And according to QMart, it might be just a season or two too late, too many. QMart used to always say, he's the only one holding them back. Actually, somebody at my job actually asked me why he got the axe. I said, he stinks. I mean, hold on. I mean, he said the Bucks are an up and coming team, and I said they shouldn't be up and coming anymore. They should just be
there.
Up.
Yes.
Yeah, they should just be up already. I mean, they have a pretty solid squad. They had a solid team last year, but they just can't get it. They're just not getting it done.
I can understand that. And, you know what? I'll piggyback on that statement and use a little bit more X's and O's. So, I had a chance to listen to a couple of analysts, some former players. A lot of them are people who really didn't play NBA basketball, but they have a really good sound mind about how the way things work. Mm-hmm. On one hand, the non-player essential analysts were saying that it's because of the coaching methodology. It failed them. Jason Kidd doesn't know what he's talking about with a lot of the sets that he's been running. I had a chance to watch some B-Ball Breakdown. Shout outs to B-Ball Breakdown. Follow him on Twitter at B-Ball Breakdown, where he's highlighting many sets that they're running that is only leading to failure for their half-court offense. They're not really converting into points. They're leading the defense to help them trap. So they're helping the defense win the game, and not in a good way. So, there's that side of the conversation. The other side of the conversation, and I had a chance to watch the players only on TNT last night, where they was discussing the Jason Kidd expulsion of duties.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Isaiah Thomas made a very interesting point. Of course, they're using their experience to try to culminate what has happened, where he talked about how Chuck Daly got fired, but it was because of the game plan from Chuck Daly that failed. It was the players that failed. The players didn't, execute it to the way that they want. They were complacent. They was lazy. They didn't show the passion. They wasn't really trying to go out there and have fun. They were just doing it for themselves. Of course, Chuck Daly came back as the head coach after Isaiah Thomas went and talked to them, and I'm going to get with the Greek Freak talking to ownership as well too.
Yes.
But it led to Chuck Daly getting rehired, and they ended up winning 2 championships. So that's two sides of the spectrum right there, and it's very interesting because no one is just saying, well, Jason Kidd sucks as a coach. No one said that, except for Q
I
Mart.
mean, except for Q-Mart. And I think that they made some strides to build a roster around Giannis, that could really compete, I think, in the beginning of the season. And maybe that's also something to keep in mind. And ownership might have been looking in the beginning of the season. We're saying this team is a sleeper
Yep.
to be top 4 in the East.
I've been saying that
in
for the
season.
past 3 years.
And I guess that's where the issue is. The ownership has probably been saying that for the last 3 years also. And maybe they have a coach pegged to be the replacement already.
I mean, rumors going around talking about them. They're trying to bring in Mark Jackson, a very Golden State-esque kind of coaching move, where they already have the personnel. They just need the guy at the head of the mantle to lead them to the promised land. And maybe it's not Mark Jackson. Maybe it's someone who won a championship before.
It's definitely possible. It could be a Jeff Van Gundy. They're always trying to get Jeff out of the booth.
I would love that. I think I would love that because if any former coach deserves to win a ring, like Jeff is in that top 5 list for
me. I can agree with that. I mean, I think that it's going to be interesting to see how it transpires because, I mean, there are some good coaches out there. I wouldn't even be surprised, I mean, based on, Coach Pop's recommendation of Becky Hammon. Got to look. That would be interesting.
That would be very interesting. Of course, the, proactive movement, the, very action-based NBA the past, I say, maybe 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely started when Adam Silver came into power as the commissioner. But, I mean, that would be something interesting to see. I think that can, stir the pot, rattle the cages, so to speak, to have the first female head coach in NBA. She is someone who is very experienced. She was a champion. She had a couple of years under the tutelage of Coach Popovich, who is, pound for pound, the best head coach of the modern era, as far as consistency. And I think that'd be pretty awesome to see. We have to wait and see. But the other thing that I want us to talk about, though, is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Having the conversation with his head coach Jason Kidd, or former head coach Jason Kidd, and was basically informing him they're about to let him go. Many rumors talked about how there was a rift between Greek Freak and Jason Kidd. I disagree with that. I feel like he's doing a lot. I feel like he's doing a lot to, help groom him for, something really, really good. And I feel like they just had the kind of bond that, growing star can get. And who better to lead them than one of the best, floor generals of, I guess you could say, our lives growing up. Once we really started to have a much more deep appreciation of the game of basketball, when you look at great floor generals, you think of Chauncey Billups, you think of, Jason Kidd, you think of CP3. Like, those are the people that you would associate with, like, great Steve Nash. I forgot to add Steve Nash. But, people who are really great floor generals that can orchestrate the offense with such artistic genius that it can make anyone cry, even that piston over there, Chris.
I agree. I think the one thing, like, just looking at it, I guess it's because I'm looking at a picture of them too. And during his reigns, and I don't mean Roman Reigns, during his reign here in Milwaukee, Giannis is the only person that's gotten better.
I will agree with that.
I think that's where the issue comes in, is that Giannis is the only one growing, but the team isn't growing collectively. So it's almost as if he's building a LeBron-esque team in Milwaukee with Giannis, but when Giannis isn't playing well, they don't win.
Wait, so what you're telling me is that Jason Kidd is the current version of Mike Brown?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Think about it like this. If Giannis leaves this team, who takes the reign?
No one.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to have a bunch of...
okay. I can't say no one, okay? I mean, Thon Maker is still a work in progress, and if he had a chance to take the reins of things, I think he could definitely do some damage. He has the skill set to do it. He just needs to get groomed and, fine-tune his art.
So maybe bring in McHale,
who's a astounding big man, great scoring and defensive hybrid big man, especially for the era that he played with.
I would have loved for this team to have a shot at Ewing before.
I think we talked about that in passing off the podcast, about how someone like Patrick Ewing could probably help them out because he'll force everyone to improve.
And that's the thing. I think that's ultimately what made them let him go, is because maybe it wasn't. He probably was a great coach. He probably ran great plays, so on and so forth. He ran plays probably that would have worked if he was the point guard.
Yes.
And I think that's why they probably made the trade, to try to get Bledsoe, to try to, increase the movement a little bit, increase the point guard activity. Or maybe they just couldn't execute, like you said.
Well, I think the biggest issue is the fact that they had Giannis running the point, which, we both agreed that is not a terrible idea. He is a heck of an athlete, a heck of a basketball player. You can't get better than Giannis. But heck of a basketball player, heck of an athlete, and you just can't get better than Giannis. But that being said, it's just like you said, it's not Jason Kidd holding the basketball in his hands.
Right.
Like, the same set that Jason Kidd is running, that he can execute with just flawlessness.
Right.
And make it glorious.
Without question.
It's rougher for Giannis because he's a slasher. Like, he's ready to attack the basket. Like, no one's going to, in the words of Oscar, no one's ready for Giannis.
That's a good one. It's almost like they should have put all their eggs into getting a point guard like Chris Paul. They should have put all their eggs into, getting instead of wasting their money on Dellavedova.
Yes.
They should have went out and tried to get a floor general who can, it's not too many, but the ones that are out there, they could have went out and tried to get them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they go out there and try to, finagle that deal to try to get
Ricky Rubio,
Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie can distribute.
He can distribute, but I feel like that Kyrie is better off in Boston.
I like Kyrie in Boston, but I think that they should have spent their money wisely. I know Dellavedova had the great playoff run where, he single-handedly beat the Warriors all by himself.
Okay, let's get this out there in the open. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Dellavedova is the Jerome James of that Cavs team.
Boy. He got paid, boy.
Just like Jerome James.
Yes. But he had some pretty okay seasons, and he had some big shots. I will give him credit. But the Bucks rolled the dice on him
and got burned.
As if he was like the second coming of freaking Jason Williams or something.
He is no white Oh, stop it. How dare you even say that?
That's how they paid him, like he was a little white chocolate. But just thinking about it though, I'm curious to see who they pick as coach. Obviously, as the trade deadline also approaches, who knows what moves they're going to make now, because they might be going in a completely different direction.
Absolutely.
And maybe Jason, he didn't agree with the direction that it may have been going in.
And of course, that's
I
all things that we don't know because they're not making it out there.
Right. I mean, I like the team. I think they have a pretty good team. I mean, obviously, Giannis. I mean, of course, I think if he continues to develop his outside game, he's going to be a monster. But
Mm.
if I mean his inside game is good. I mean, of course, Bledsoe, proven scorer. Jabari Parker, if he can stay healthy, solid. You still got Brogdon and Middleton. You mentioned Thon Maker, John Henson. I mean, a
John
lot of these
Henson.
guys. Some of these guys probably will be traded, but I mean, we'll see what happens. And they got some, veterans. Marshall Plumlee. They got Jason Terry in there somewhere. I mean, they got a good mix. But I think it's going to come down to a coach that can come in and
Mm.
motivate them to play 4 quarters of basketball. Motivate them.
I mean, motivation and just
You want to
getting some
know
heart.
something? I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I actually saw a report and I wanted to get your take on this. How would you feel if former Louisville Cardinal coach Rick Pitino took over for the Milwaukee Bucks vacancy? Because I saw it pop up on my phone earlier.
It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
Is he ready to get back in? I mean, he just had a scandal. Is he ready to take? He's
I,
ready to go back to the NBA.
they're gonna give him a lot of they're gonna give him everything that he wants because of the whole glamour of everything he did with Louisville. But I mean, it's in the realm of possibility, but I don't see it actually happening
I mean,
because of
listen,
the scandal issues that's been going on.
I mean, I wouldn't blame them, of course, for looking that way. But there's so many coaches, so many quality coaches, like you mentioned, Mark Jackson. We talked about, you know, Jeff Van Gundy. You always have to look at so many coaches that you can
I
look
mean,
at.
heck, maybe even David Blatt, who trolled the Cavaliers
Trolled.
and then failed in his trolling.
Oh God, that's terrible. But I don't think so. I think David Black kind of has that same, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? He has that same, I guess, issue that they might be having with Jason Kidd. LeBron complained that he didn't know how to call plays, draw up plays. But
I mean, I feel like he was just given a bad hand, though. Like, we really can't believe a whole lot of what LeBron said.
I don't think so either. I mean, but you never know who's let go this off season. Who's available. I just don't want to see. There's certain people I just don't want to see get another opportunity right away. I feel like there's so many people that just kind of get so many chances. I don't want. I'm going to throw out one name, like the Dwayne Casey's of the world. I think Mike Woodson's had his fair share. I think.
Mike Wilson had some successful seasons. He definitely led
But
a
he
good
has,
stint of Hawks team into
yeah.
the playoffs. So,
I'm
that's not
good.
terrible. But at the
I'm
same time, the
good.
Hawks kind of, or at least Atlanta sports kind of celebrate mediocrity.
We need new blood. That's why I'm happy that I'm happy that the Lakers went young. I'm hoping that other teams decide to do something as well, younger. Let's get some fresh blood, and that's why it was okay when Jason Kidd first took over because he
Yep.
was a new coach. Retirement. I mean, he just hung up the shoes not too long
Literally,
before.
like maybe a month after he officially said he retired, he got hired by the Nets.
So it was like, hey, he hung up his shoes, he got hired. It didn't work out. He left. He got hired again. Cool. One of the best point guards
In
in the
history,
NBA and NBA history got an opportunity. I'm okay with that.
totally fine with that.
But some of these older coaches, it might be time for them to hang it up.
Yep.
But I think we should definitely look at. We mentioned the trade deadline. Maybe we should move in that direction. With the trade deadline approaching, let me stop right there.
Yeah.
What moves don't you want to see? I guess is where I should start.
Well, I had a chance to watch a Bleacher Report article, and I'm gonna tell you this trade, and you tell me how whacked up this is. And this is involving the team that just let go of their coach. It's a three-way trade between the Hawks, the Bucks, and the Knicks, where the Knicks get Malcolm Brogdon, who was Rookie of the Year, but I'm not really that high on him. Matthew Dellavedova, and Ersan Ilyasova. What? That's the one So we're giving up Michael Beasley, Jarrett Jack, Ernest Cantor. What?
Who?
Like that's who the Bucks are getting, including Marco Bellinelli. The Hawks get Misra Televic, Rashad Vaughn, DJ Wilson, and a 2020 second round pick from the Bucks. No, that's a dumb trade. So that's the stupidest trade I've seen. The trade that I don't want to see involves the Cavaliers getting DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Because that just shows, whatever. I kind of don't want that one to happen. So let's think about it like this. And we talked about this before the podcast. And we kind of had a really good laugh about this. You know, I'm going to still laugh about this because, you know, it's LeBron James and we laugh at his pain.
Absolutely.
He wants everyone. And
similar to me.
Yeah, similar to you. He wants everyone, but the issue that I have is he's not trying to make the team improve. He just wants everyone and it kind of piggybacks on what we talked about when he had his first stint with the Cavaliers. Where he ended up getting a lot of people who are basically past their prime or, you know, in the twilight of their career and expects to automatically go to the finals. You know, he did that with Cleveland the first stint towards the end. He did that with the Heat, which pretty much all 4 years, and he's doing that now with the Cavaliers. You know, which I'm, you know, pleading and hoping that Adam Silver put that new rule about the LeBron James getting every single freaking person who comes off of waivers, which of course will probably happen again this year.
I'm just happy that the Rockets aren't trading Clint Capella. I'm just so disappointed that we even mentioned it.
I think if they did that, first of all, you're gonna toss your headphones at Chris, hit him in the face.
Yes, I mean I probably
after he wiped his eye because you hit him with the mic in his eye, and he's gonna look up and you're gonna give him a roaring elbow, aka a B-dorm, and then walk out of the booth, out of the studio, out of the building, leave North Carolina, go to Houston, and slap Daryl Morey in the face.
It was just sad. And it's so funny because it came after, you know, Clint Capella said that they were better than the Warriors, you know, which, you know, I was like, oh, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe they're just riding with him. But, I mean, he's younger. I don't even think with this next contract that he'll even demand the money that DeAndre Jordan gets. Like, I think maybe 14 million, maybe. But to trade him to the Clippers, sure, you want to get rid of Ryan Anderson, who's having a pretty good season. I think we should just stay put, you know. I agree with you, though, with the Cavs. I think trading Tristan Thompson for, you know what, not even trading Tristan Thompson. It'll
be pretty much the whole bench.
Some fool told me that they were going to trade their entire bench for Kemba Walker, and I said
yes. Actually, no fool said that. It was actually an article about that too.
Well, some fool told me before I even looked at the article.
Hilarious.
And I said, "There's no way that Michael Jordan is letting Kemba walk for J.R. Smith, you know, for Iman Shumpert, for McFly."
McFly.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that he's gonna. I don't think Kemba's moving unless somebody gives up a big piece. And I think the only team that could probably offer him something probably would be the Knicks. But
Yep.
I don't think giving up Cantor is a good idea.
I don't think so either. There was also some rumors about Herman Gomez being on the trade block, which I also don't like.
I didn't see that one. Everything involved Cantor and the young point guard that you don't want to lose.
Yes.
Um, but all signs pointed towards Cantor being traded. I didn't see anything with Michael Beasley being traded, which is why when you said it, I was kind of like, what? But I don't know what teams need to make moves and who's going to make the moves. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's only maybe 3 or 4 deals that are really, really made.
So, so let's try to play the uh, guru real quick. Let's put on our Reed's hat and
Uh,
let's try to predict some of these moves that might happen. You said it's gonna be 3 or 4. So what moves do you think is gonna happen?
I think, I think DeAndre definitely wants to move. He's media baiting, but I think that first is like it's definitely happening. I don't know. I don't know where. I think it's going to be somewhere that we're not expecting. I don't think it's going to be the Cavs. I don't think it's going to the Rockets. It's going to be somewhere that we not expected. You know, maybe instead of trading Kemba somehow, maybe the Hornets go ahead and try to bring in DeAndre. You know, because Dwight is just not working. You know what I mean? Or it didn't work. You know, maybe a team like Chicago takes a run at Dwight because hey, Bobby Portis and all those guys, it's just not working. Uh, and I guess maybe the Milwaukee Bucks, despite having Don Maker and some other bigs, I know they didn't really like Greg Monroe too much before, so
Mm-hmm.
they shipped him off. Maybe they have a hole now, and they figured DeAndre can come in and compete there. I just don't know. I just hope if we trade for him, we don't give up Clint Capella or anybody else. Maybe we just give up a first round pick and future cash consideration.
I mean, you think the Rockets can make a move if they put up a second round draft pick and Ryan Anderson?
No, because then we would have Clint Capella and DeAndre Jordan. You know,
I didn't say for DeAndre though. I just said a deal.
I don't think Darren Moore is going to make any deals. Even though I know that they're trying to clear cap for the possibility of King James coming to Houston to play with his friends, which we know that happens all too often. Um, that would be the only type of move I could see. But I don't know. I feel pretty confident that this team is so good as they are right now that it should just stay put. I mean, we're 32, we're 33 and 12. I mean, we should just stay put. So I can't really make any real reads off of that. I mean, any Knicks that you see definitely moving?
I mean, the one that I want to move is Joakim Noah, but we're gonna have to package him out. I mean, I'll be okay with departing with Ron Baker, to try to sweeten the
Really?
pot. I mean,
Oh God.
we're gonna have to give up someone young, and if I had to choose anyone, Ron Baker's on that list.
Really?
I like him. I like him a lot. I've been high on him ever since he left Wichita State, but I still like Kuzmiskis. He's a winner. Herman Gomez, he's the big man of our future. Him, like I said, the front court of him, frickin' KP, Kuzmiskis, Beasley. That's playoff bound right there. I love that. Oh,
You
and
know,
also Cal Quinn, who the Warriors is actually looking to try to get, and the Knicks getting Nick Young and a first
uh,
round draft pick.
okay. Well, I
Which
guess that's
that one I can see.
you want. I mean, you don't want Nick Young back, obviously, but I mean that first round pick could be pretty sweet.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, if he gets on fire, he can score 30.
Sure,
Like that's the
sure.
only thing. Like he's basically the current version of J.R. Smith, except he has a better jump shot right now.
But can Nick Young and Michael Beasley play together?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's gonna be so
No,
weird.
he's coming off the bench. If
They're
they
all.
make that trade, he's coming off the bench. He coming off the bench
You know,
now.
you know, a trade that would be good. Just thinking about, just thinking about the dynamic of the team. I think if the Lakers traded for DeAndre Jordan and dumped this Brook Lopez project because it's not working for
It's
them.
not working at all. It's not working at
Uh,
all. He
I think
he's not the Brook Lopez of years past, and it's a shame because we both really like Brook
we
Lopez.
did, we did. I think it would work better with the Clippers for him, only because Blake Griffin drives to the basket very often, and having somebody to kick the ball out to as a center
Oh
would be
my
pretty good.
gosh. Oh my gosh. The Cavaliers is gonna try to get Brook Lopez.
I don't think so. That would be interesting, but I don't
I'm
know.
thinking about it. I'm like,
The money would work.
the money would work perfectly.
The money would work. Tristan would be.
I think they could do it straight up too.
Yeah, they could definitely do it straight up. They probably won't. They probably try. That's the thing. Like all of the trades that I've seen have also included Isaiah Thomas.
They're not getting rid of Isaiah Thomas.
All of the trades that I've seen have included
If they
Isaiah.
get rid of Isaiah Thomas, they do not have a point guard.
And I think that's where Kemba Walker came in. They were going to give up the farm to get Kemba Walker and Nicholas Batum, and they were going to give up Isaiah Thomas, J.R. Smith, uh, and they were
What?
going to give him. They were going to give him a whole bunch of people.
I feel like that's a stupid move.
Nick Batum, I don't know. I don't know. He can score, but I don't know.
I'm not
They
for that move. I'm not for that
they
move.
probably want to. They probably really want to give up J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert because that $20-something million is sitting on the bench plus McFry.
McFry.
I think that $30 million that's sitting on the bench is probably getting to him. You think about it, they package $30 million. They can pull a DeAndre. They can pull a DeAndre and maybe somebody else from the Clippers. They could pull a Kemba Walker. They might even be able to pull somebody else, or maybe a team like I don't know. Like I said, there's some teams out there that need help, and they have to make a move. But the question is, who's it gonna be? What they're gonna do? But then there are some teams that should sit still
Yep.
and just ride the wave. The
Warriors. Come out and play it. Okay, so Chris actually helped me out. Shout out to Chris. He went to the ESPN trade machine and he did a possible trade for the Cavaliers to get Brook Lopez. They can't do it straight up for Tristan and Brook because of the luxury tax.
Sure,
Because they are the highest paid team in the NBA. So
of course.
he also put in Iman Shumpert, and that one worked.
Iman Shumpert to the Lakers.
Yep.
If I'm the Lakers, I probably wouldn't want Iman. I probably would want. It would probably have to be McFry, which should work because I think he makes about the same, maybe a little less. I think
He makes a
nine.
little less. He makes 7. And it'll
I
work.
mean, yeah, I think I would want McFry. McFry.
I mean, heck, maybe even J.R. Smith. Nope, not J.R. Smith.
Yeah, I want J.R. Smith. They want
Well,
because they have
J.R.'s making 13 mil, so that's not
They
going to
want to
work.
get rid of. They want to get rid of him. It's really the plan because of the cash. But I mean, he comes up big in the playoffs. I don't think Dwayne Wade's gonna make it that far into the playoffs.
No. Yeah, I'm actually looking at their depth chart right now, and it's Isaiah Thomas and Derrick Rose as the 2-point guards,
You trade for Kemba
and
Walker
and
get
Jose
rid of Isaiah.
Calderon.
Jose Calderon. I mean, Kemba Walker is really close to. I mean, not really close, but I mean, it's probably the best, Kyrie impression that you're gonna get.
That is hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, I actually find that to be hilarious. Good job, sir. That was good.
I mean, I'm just saying.
That was good.
But But I mean, just thinking about the trades, though. I mean, anything could happen. We'll definitely continue to monitor that. Um, and obviously, we do keep talking about the Cavs, because they're losing, and there apparently is a lot of finger pointing. I don't know if you saw the other day, but Kevin Love left the game because he was quote unquote sick.
Yeah.
And the players is like,
let's talk about our favorite team.
Hey, Michael Jordan played through the flu.
Yeah, he did.
Why can't you play through the flu or whatever bug you have? You're a liar.
You're a phony. You're a phony.
You're not a real basketball player.
I want the old Stone Cold.
Oh, somebody should mark out about that. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting.
I mean, it could be. But let's think about it like this. Eventually, the bait and switch game of the Cavaliers is what's gonna come back and bite them in the booty hole, and the booty O, and it's now starting to do it. They are sliding. LeBron is looking out for number one now, which I mean, it is what it is, and I mean they might end up being a third seed.
Who's gonna be number two?
I don't know. Because they're playing like absolute donkey.
Not donkey.
They're pretty much the worst in the league in defensive efficiency with LeBron James on the court, and they're third worst in the league with him off the court.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
He also did another trade for this one actually for Kemba Walker, trading the horrible contract of Joakim Noah, and we get Kemba Walker and Frank Kaminsky.
Oh my God! That's not happening.
Of course, it's not happening. Thank you, Chris, for helping me dream.
Yeah, they had to give everybody to get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you make of the finger pointing though?
I mean, it's the environment that we should expect after a while. LeBron is channeling his inner diva now. He is now coming full-fledged circle as showing his diva-less attitude. And finally, the veil of LeBron could do no wrong now is starting to finally have his comeuppance. Which is weird because I was watching First Take, and on Monday they were hounding on LeBron James for being a diva. Today, they're blaming the ownership for all the issues and saying that LeBron is no diva.
That's Max Kellerman all the way.
Of course it was Max Kellerman.
Yeah, that's definitely Max Kellerman. I could tell just by that argument. That's definitely Max Kellerman. And I'm sure.
So it's like the media is trying to add padding to not make LeBron James into the bad guy, and I don't mean razor friend.
Oh my goodness! But I mean, then he leaves Cleveland.
He's gonna leave.
And then he doesn't become the bad guy even still.
He's going to leave. And the problem is he's going to leave. And, you mentioned it last week that he might end up joining the Warriors. And I'm going to stop watching basketball.
He joins the Warriors. It's over. He joins
the Warriors. And no one's going to say anything. No one's going to give him any kind of flack about it. They're like, honestly, LeBron James is slowing down. He's hitting the twilight of his career. Yeah, I think he definitely deserves to play on the super team now. This is his first super team.
I feel like, part of that sounded like the Duke last week. The way you're saying it, the way you just said it, sounded like you talking about the Duke. He slowed down in his game. I can't believe you just said that, but I think that he'll join one of the top Western teams.
He's gonna join he'll end up joining the West, and it's gonna be one of the top Western teams. You're right.
Did you think about it? It'll either be the Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, if they can afford it, which would be ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous. That's basically going to become the Heatles Part 2.
That would be so
especially if they get Paul George to resign.
That'd be ridiculous. And then, of course, you got the Rockets. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Of course, he joins the Warriors. I mean, you can't knock the Spurs out because, and of course, this is going to be my final thought. But I mean, of course, I'll just kind of continue on with it. But with Kawhi not being quote unquote happy in San Antonio, you have to wonder, like, hey, does he get shipped out?
No. I feel like that was reaching by the media to try to create, because you don't hear stuff about the Spurs when it comes to players and coaches and the management. Like, you don't hear those kind of stories from the organization because they have a certain pedigree about them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's just media baiting.
Media baiting. I agree. I just was interested because, I mean, you just never know. I mean, I've never heard anything like that before. So to hear it just made me feel like, hey, I wonder if it's possibly true.
I doubt it's true. I think that's just them reaching.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see what the Cavs do. Obviously, they don't want Tristan. I don't know how Kevin Love is still there because they treat him, as if he is, the new Mario Chalmers.
Wow. Shouldn't even be picking up a basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised he's still on the team. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm definitely interested to see where and how they swing, because, I mean, obviously they can go on that 20-game run that we always talk about.
Yep.
And who knows, maybe a trade for DeAndre might do that. It's going to be easier for LeBron to play defense knowing that he has DeAndre back there. And Dwayne Wade's so slow, so, he'll be more confident too. And then there's Kyle Korver in there somewhere. So, I mean, maybe we'll see. But, I mean, I guess another thing that it's not as big as it used to be. And I think we talked about this, off the stream. The All-Star game.
Yep.
There was some snubbery.
I hate it. I hate the All-Star game now.
Snubberish.
I kind of just don't even want to watch it this year. I barely watched it last year.
I don't think I think I stopped watching it really in the 2000s when it really became non-competitive. Before it was competitive, when Kobe was playing, like Kobe wanted to win.
Kobe wanted to win.
Yeah, he didn't care about people dunking and all that stuff. Not playing. I think they don't play defense until the fourth quarter or something like that.
They don't even play defense in the fourth quarter.
Well, they used to. They used to not play. They used to joke around the whole first quarter and play.
The beginning of the 2000s, that was fine because the fourth quarter is when you really saw a game.
Right, and
the score is like 140 to 131, but that fourth quarter is gonna get the most intense that you'll see because at this point they want to win this game.
And I think that's whack. I want to see a real game out there. But you were saying that off the stream, you did say that you liked the new voting scale, the weight.
Yes.
I think you mentioned it. I mean, do you think with this new weighing scale that's why we have bigger snubs?
Yes.
Because the fans aren't voting, Enzo Amari and, people who don't deserve to be there. The Enzos of the world, the Carmelas, the people who don't really deserve to be there.
Helen, I think you need to come out your office.
The James Ellsworths of the world.
Oh my gosh. But yes, I do really enjoy the new voting system where we have 3 system of votings and it all culminates into one. We have the fan voting, which was always in place.
We
now have the media voting where people of the media, I think they put like 100 people or something like that that can actually vote for people. And then they also have the players, so the players can actually vote. And you was kind of iffy about that one, but then I mentioned who was the top vote getter for the player side.
Right. Well, I think when we talk about it, it kind of sounds like the way college football is. You got the coaches poll, you got the AP poll,
Yep.
and other poll, but it's like I don't know. I wonder, is it like a 33, 33, 33,
Mm-mm.
0.11111 repeating, of course, kind of
Nope.
thing?
So the fans get 50% of the
Oh,
vote
okay.
altogether. So, once you put it out, that's how the weight is for that. And the media and the current players account for 25% each.
I guess in that situation, it's not too bad. 25%. I mean, 50% is good because the fans sometimes can be, erratic. Like they can
Highly
be.
freaking voting in Shaquille O'Neal for only playing 2 games in the first half. Come on. That ticked me off.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I do remember that. I think wasn't there somebody else who was injured and they did the same
Yao
thing.
Ming!
Yao Ming. I'm okay with that though. I'm okay with Yao Ming being in. Of course, I would be okay with that. I probably voted.
You probably did. I'm gonna pull up those polls right now. No. But I
No,
like
but
the newest system because now there's weight involved. Of course, LeBron James was the top vote getter for both the fans and the media, but it was the players that didn't have him as a top vote getter.
I mean, I believe you said that's where Giannis came in.
Yep.
But I mean, there were so many people, and I mentioned this, last week, that I felt as though once Chris Paul joined the Rockets, he became a heel. So it's
Which, by the way,
time.
I saw the last game, and you are completely right about him
That's
wanting
what I'm
to embarrass
saying.
people. I freaking loved it.
Of course, we love it, but I think that's why he's not getting voted in because he's becoming a heel, and like it's
But is it
it's
him
great.
becoming a heel, or is it him just wanting to win?
He does want to
Because I
win.
feel like it's him just trying to win, and
Well,
he doesn't care about what the people at large has to say about him. He just wants to win.
and I think I guess that might be he might be trying to prove people wrong. He's like, oh, it's not going to work. Chris Paul and James Harden, that's not going to work. Oh, Chris Paul needs DeAndre, and Chris Paul needs, Blake Griffin and Doc
Hmm.
Rivers, and it's like, no, Chris Paul needs Chris Paul. But I mean, I guess certain things like that could rub people wrong, and I'm sure other players who feel as though they got snubbed, you know.
I mean, let's go through who got selected as a starter and who are the reserves.
Hmm.
The starters, there's no stubs there. Everyone's happy because they're all voted in. Of
Right.
course, it's kind of jumbled now because now they do kind of like the Pro Bowl, which is stupid, but whatever. I don't care anymore. And it's mainly because the West keep, making the East. It's how you doing.
Nah.
So we have Steph Curry,
Mm.
LeBron James. They were the top vote getters for both the East and West.
So the
Uh,
cat.
so they're the captains. So they get to do their little draft thing where they get to choose people, but whatever. I don't care. I really don't care. Like, I don't care about this whole drafting system. Whatever.
Sure.
Like, it's basically like playing street ball and you have to choose people to be on your team.
Sure.
Yo, I got my dude with the headband. Yo, I got the lanky guy right there.
I got you. That's kind of how it was because I mean it was like Giannis and then Anthony Davis.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. Those are your all-star starters.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna go through the reserves and what the people want to know. Doc, you gonna tell them if they're snubbed or not snubbed? LaMarcus Aldridge, snub or not snub?
I mean, he's definitely not snubbed. He's in as a reserve. Again, the Spurs have just
Well,
not been.
we're talking about snubbed like not being a starter.
Oh, I don't think that's how. I don't know if
Because that's the big stink that the ESPNs of the world have been talking about. Oh well, this person should have been a starter.
Well, it's different now because of that whole, like you said, that whole draft, that fantasy draft process. If it was just East West, let me see. One, two, three,
There's
four, five.
14 reserves.
So I'm looking at the starters here. So LeBron's in the East.
Yep.
Joel Embiid's in the East. DeMar DeRozan's in the East. Giannis is in the East. And Kyrie's in the East. So you'd have put those guys on a 5. You would have been good on that side.
Yep.
Maybe I think Joel Embiid. Let's see. Let me look through here. Joel Embiid and KP, kind of a toss-up. I'm not sure. Joel Embiid talks more than KP. But I think that's pretty much about it. I don't think that's a snub. When I think of snub, I think of
people who just didn't make it at all.
Period.
Exactly. But the definition of snub has become so obtuse from what it used to be. Now it's, well, you should have been a starter.
Should have been a starter. Well, all right. So LaMarcus Aldridge, I'm going to say on LeBron's team, not a snub. Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, I mean, that's not a snub.
Bradley Beal. I mean, he's hooping 23.6 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3.7 assists. Having a little bit more reins of the offense now.
He does. I like the use of the word reins. I think on Steph's team, because of how Steph's team is, we're talking about Steph, James Harden, and Kyrie, it's not a snub. Which I'm surprised he even has so many guards on his team. Because he not only has Bradley Beal, but he has Kyle Lowry also, which you're going to get to.
Yep.
He's a snub. He's not a snub, by the way. Kyle Lowry, you can skip him.
Yes.
He's nowhere near a snub.
I see what you did there. So let's continue on.
Yeah, because I mean, the only person that might be a snub on here.
I mean, let's just go through quickly all the other people, and then we can talk about who should have been a starter, and who would you take off? Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Al Horford, Damian Lillard, Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo, KP, Klay Thompson, Karl Anthony Towns, John Wall, and Mr. Stat Stuffing himself.
I don't think anybody's a snub. I think the way the teams are drafted, I mean, you could try to put Russell Westbrook in for Kyrie or Russell Westbrook in for James Harden since he missed a few games, but Karl Anthony Towns, you might be able to squeeze him in, over Anthony Davis.
You really gonna put Russell Westbrook over James Harden? Are you serious? I have to argue with that one.
Only because he missed a few games. That's the only reason. That's the only thing.
He still has better stats than him and a better record. No. Screw that noise. I'm sorry. No.
It's the only thing I can come up with.
No, Westbrook belongs at the back of the pack.
Draymond Green, of course, carries his team for the most part, but I mean,
people talked about him taking over for Boogie Cousins. You feel like that he should have took Boogie Cousins' place?
He just had that big game the other night, and it was pretty good.
It was very good.
That's what's on my mind. I mean, I don't know. If I was gonna take off DeMarcus Cousins,
and it has to be someone from the West because they did it West East, so it has to be someone from the West.
No, I mean they didn't do it West East.
No. So the starting lineups is going to be draft, but the selections was done West East.
And somebody that's already drafted on his team, I mean, it would have to be KP. I mean, that's it.
For
Boogie Cousins.
Boogie Cousins in the West, bro.
No, I mean they didn't draft it this way. That's what I'm saying.
No,
That's
no,
what
no.
I'm trying to understand what you mean.
So the selection, who is actually starters, they didn't do the draft yet. So get the draft out of your head real quick.
Okay.
So the actual selection is still done old school.
Okay.
5 from the East, 5 from the West. So if you have to take off 1 from the West, you need to grab someone from the West to take that person's place, instead of taking someone from the East to put it to the West side. So it's still old school. It's still old school for that sense. After that, once they do the draft, it's, calamity.
Gotcha. So he took Giannis, he took James, he took Kyrie, he took DeMarcus Cousins. It would have to be Karl Anthony Towns if he could draft him.
No. Okay, let's one more step back. So when the selection committee, the selection of who's the actual starter. So this is still not Steph and LeBron choosing their teammates. They're not. I'm not talking about that part.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the actual chosen 10.
Right.
That is still
instead
old
of
school.
DeMarcus,
so it's still so instead of DeMarcus, it would have to be someone from the West, and people from the West would be Draymond, Jimmy, LaMarcus,
Karl-Anthony Towns.
Oh yeah, you're right. I thought you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm so used to people calling him Cat. That's why.
Yeah, like Karl-Anthony Towns.
Oh my gosh. I'm so used to people saying I call him Cat all the time, so I don't hear his full name anymore. That's on me. Yeah. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That's on me.
No, that's cool. I was like, okay, am I doing this wrong? But yeah,
I'm gonna recover myself by saying Debates Among Friends tonight is brought to you by Stella. Twas.
No, but yeah, that's the only other person now I can see replacing DeMarcus Cousins. I think Karl-Anthony Towns. If Minnesota trades him or gets rid of him, everybody's fired.
I think literally everyone is fired. I mean, and even Minnesota's been kind of lackluster this year, but we'll talk about them another day.
Yeah, they have been, but yeah, we could definitely. But I don't know. I don't like this new snub.
Yes.
The people who didn't make it, really, really didn't make it.
Those are snubs.
Yeah, like these guys are gonna actually be in the game still. I'm talking about people who really, really didn't make it.
Yep.
Like Chris Paul.
Chris Paul should have definitely been in there.
I think Chris Paul would be in there over Damian Lillard.
I mean, I feel like even Clint Capella could have been a reserve.
He could have been. I don't know.
Just to stick with your team.
I mean, Al Horford. I mean, he's okay. He's okay. But it's the East, so.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Maybe Clint Capella over LaMarcus Aldridge. Again, the Spurs aren't.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
The Spurs aren't really doing anything. That's where it gets kind of like you don't really hear about them. I didn't hear about them until this whole fake Kawhi news.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the point. That's the point that I was trying to make the whole time.
That's a good point, though. It is a good point. But this whole idea of snubbery is ridiculous.
Speaking of Al Horford, he's out tonight.
See, he shouldn't be in the All-Star game if he's out tonight. But sir, I think we've done enough hardwood for the day. I think it's
I'm going to disagree, but I'll also agree at the same time.
What? That's hour one. Hour one was full of hard basketball. It was
hard hitting, bat breaking.
Yeah,
everybody lose their seats. Watching me. The world is watching me.
Wow.
Shout outs to the coach. Shout outs to the coach right there.
But it's time, sir.
Yes. Let's get away from the hardwood. Let's talk some gridiron. Let's grab our helmets, put them on, because it's time for us to say a little ples.
Say a little ples for me.
Ooh.
So, which game do you want to start with? It's NFL Conference Championship weekend. We had two games to decide which two teams are going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I guess we should start off with the one that ended the fastest.
I mean, can we just say that Case Keenum is who we thought he was?
Case Keenum. Well, okay. So let's give W's due. Case Keenum had a great game.
Did he? I feel
No.
like that game was over after that pick six.
No.
I think once I saw that pick six, I
Good-
think we
Good doctor,
we
that is
instantly-
sarcasm, my friend.
I think we instantly went to Borderlands.
Actually, we did go to Borderlands. We did go
Once
to
that pick
Borderlands.
six happened, I felt the energy. I seen his face, and at that point, I was a believer that he knew that they were going to lose the game.
I see what you did there.
I saw his face, and I
I
knew they were
saw
going to
his
lose it.
face.
You know, like he was so deflated. You could tell that he gave everything into that last throw to Stephon Diggs last week, and now they have an issue where, what do they do now? What do they do? Do they franchise tag Case Keenum, pay him $20 million, let Sam Bradford walk, and then, you know?
I mean, they're gonna call it what it was. I mean, they didn't have Teddy Bridgewater, so they're gonna be like, we're glad that we got as far as we did with the quarterback that we had. That's literally all they're gonna say,
Case Keenum moves on to maybe play somewhere else,
basically.
and they keep Sam Bradford.
Yep.
Hey, maybe Pat Shurmur brings one of the quarterbacks to New York to
That's true.
replace Eli.
Although the mock drafts do still show that they're gonna pick up a quarterback in the first round.
They might not have to, or then maybe they will draft a quarterback and let him learn under Case Keenum, and then he can have a St. Louis Rams moment all over again.
I see what you did there.
I'm just saying.
I can respect that.
But it's technically three starting quarterbacks in Minnesota right now,
Correct.
and
They're basically loaded.
and one or two of them might be leaving.
Also true.
But let's talk about the other quarterback. I did not think Nick Foles would be able to pull it off.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say he's the beneficiary of being a cog in their wheel,
The Trent Dilfer,
basically.
the Brad Johnson.
The Brad Johnson.
I mean, I really didn't think he would be able to pull it off. Like, I was sitting there and I was like, man, they're scoring. We were playing the game. We were playing Borderlands. You know, I'm doing my modern day Maya Raja.
Oh my god, I can't reset that live. We should stop the stream right now.
And, you know,
We should stop it like right now. Chris, I'm gonna do the outro right now. So
oh my God.
like I'm dead serious right now.
Tonight's track is. But I mean, as I was playing with the modern day Maya Raja, I felt like, you know, points were just going up.
I feel like they just. What's the right way of saying this?
Because you can't say it the way you normally would say it, because you got to put $5 in the jar.
They just didn't have an answer to the onslaught that was the Philadelphia Eagles. I like that.
But that pick six really turned the whole game around.
That pick six was like, it was like watching the Seahawks when they won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like when they got that, after the botched snap at the beginning of the game, that was it. That's what that pick six was. As soon as that pick six happened, that was it for the game. Like the game was over. Everyone knew it was over.
That definitely was it. And I mean, looking forward here, the Eagles defense. You know, maybe I underestimated them. I knew they were good, but I thought the Vikings would be better than 7 points.
I feel like the Vikings. Well, no, they scored 14 points. They scored 2 touchdowns. But then again, the other one was garbage time.
I don't know why this thing on Google here says 38-7.
I could have sworn they scored. Oh no, you know what? That got turned back. You're right.
Yeah.
The other one got turned back.
It's scrub. As a scrub. It's a scrub point. They scrubbed it.
They say you're not getting this one, friend.
So now the Vikings lose their offensive coordinator, Pat Shermer, to the Giants, which we'll definitely talk about coaching changes a little later. But their season's over, and it kind of stinks. You know, you go this far to lay a dud. You know, a dud.
Biggest game of the year. Can't leave anything out there.
They
Unfortunately
did.
for the Vikings, they left it all back in Minnesota.
On that last throw.
Oh gosh. It's
But
terrible.
let's talk about what the people really want to talk about, though.
The Jaguars versus the Patriots.
Tom Brady,
Tom
who, quote unquote,
flippin' Brady.
who had a broken hand with stitches open still.
Was I not lying when I said that it was negligible to even think about that injury? Because I said it was a stupid thing for people to talk about, and people are losing it. And the fact that they put him as questionable was the biggest troll move of the entire postseason.
It really was. It was
The
pretty
biggest
funny, though.
troll move.
I would have been out there trying to step on that hand personally.
Oh my gosh. And it's not
I
like
would
the
be out there.
Jaguars really got to him that much, though.
They hit him a good amount of times, but they didn't hit that hand.
They did not hit. They barely touched him.
I probably would have been dropping a Ric Flair elbow on that hand.
Like, after the game, the team manager took all the jerseys, saw Tom Brady's, and just hung it back up. Like, it was clean.
But to do it also without Gronk for the majority of the game,
And-
which
and-
I think they're used to doing it without Gronk at this point.
I will agree with that. I also felt that Gronk going down should have been the change of pace for the entire game, like the rest of the game. It should have been just
Agreed.
everything should have changed from there. Like, that's when they made their big comeback and let the defense do what the defense is supposed to do, because they were playing man coverage the rest of the game.
Yeah, they were.
They were playing
were.
man, but they got destroyed.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, how did you feel about New England almost throwing a perfect game? One penalty.
One penalty. I mean, kudos to
To
all
the referees?
Oh gosh.
Because, I mean, there's a meme out there that Bill Belichick is, talking to the ref, and he's like, come on, these guys are killing us. You need
This
to
guy
help
is
us.
killing us. I can't believe you didn't call that. Where is the flag? I am going to have a long discussion with Roger Goodell. Yes, that Roger Goodell who can fire you just like that.
Isn't this what we pay you for in the locker room?
Like,
come
you're
on.
not invited. You're not invited to the post Super Bowl ice cream social at all. You're out.
Yes. You will not try any of the New England clam chowder fountain
Oh
that
my
we
gosh.
order.
No, not the fountain. I love the fountain.
But I mean, shout out to the Tom Brady for sticking in there. I mean, they just won the game. It was too much time. But let me ask you, I mean, switching to the other side though, Blake Bortles now. I saw an article that said, is Blake Bortles holding back the Jaguars now? Which is ridiculous to even ask right after going, 12 and 6, or I guess it was 11 and 6. That's kind of ridiculous to ask.
It is. It is.
But is it time done? Do they go after Case Keenum?
Oh, he is gone. He
Blake
is
Bortles is done.
gone.
You
Like,
think Tom Coughlin
And-
gets him out of there?
like immediately after the game, that's all people talked about. He is gone. He's not going to be there anymore. He's out of there.
Is that
Gone.
why he was crying salty tears?
I mean, I'd be salty too if I lost like that.
Yeah, that was
It's
pretty
like-
tough.
Blake, what do you feel about the game? I can't throw.
Wow. You think he can't throw though? Does he get another shot, or does he go into?
He's
backup?
gonna go back and become the backup again. That's all it
They
is.
don't- So I mean, I don't know. It's rough because it was such a good season,
It was
and
a
he
good
really
season.
turned it around. He really shocked me. And Leonard Fournette only ran for 1,000 yards, so it wasn't like
It was
he
based. It
carried.
wasn't. It wasn't a very
Yeah, like he
you
didn't
know
carry them.
team with a star esque type of performance the
Wow,
prior season.
wow. No, there is no star. There's only one star of the galaxy, and his name is John Gotti.
Nope. Gonna keep talking about the game.
No, but I don't know. Blake knows that it's going to take another long road for him to get back there, and
Yes.
I think he's probably going to regress. I don't know what Tom Coughlin's going to do, but it's going to be interesting to see. But then again, I don't know what Bill Belichick's going to do because as we move on to the coaching changes, he's losing his coordinators supposedly.
Yes.
Report. Which one I'm okay with, the other I'm just like I don't know. But what a game though. The Jaguars had it. We almost had a new champion.
We almost had a new champion. I mean, I said after the game, and you laughed really hard. I said I would like to congratulate the New England Patriots for helping Tom Brady win his 6th ring.
And before the game, before I started laughing at that, well before, there was, Robert Kraft was on, I think, NFL Network, and they were talking about how, Tom Brady, how many more years can Tom Brady play?
I mean, the way he played on Sunday, I mean, maybe 2-3 more years.
They're talking 5. They're talking 5. And they're talking extension.
If he's going to play 5 more years, and I'll agree with that, but here's the caveat with that. They need a solid run game to assist.
It's interesting because they haven't had a run game basically
since, I mean, we could even say since LeGarrette Blount, because
he scored a lot of touchdowns.
He scored a lot of touchdowns. He didn't get a lot of yards, but he did take a lot of the load off around the red zone.
Tom hasn't taken a lot of big hits.
He hasn't. And, big credit to the line coach.
Yeah, because they always have a weird offensive line that never looks good.
Yep.
But gets the job done.
But just gets the job done. And we saw it in display on Sunday.
Remember that year they all had beards? How crazy that was? That probably was his best offensive line, that group. Since then, it's like,
I mean, it's been hit or miss.
But I mean, just looking over it now, I mean, he's going to have his maybe 3rd or 4th offensive coordinator after they lose Josh McDaniels, who, looking over the coaching changes now, he might be a lock-in for the Indianapolis.
Yep.
Which
I can see that being good for Andrew Luck.
It could be if he can stay healthy.
Well, I mean, he couldn't stay healthy because he had a line that just opened up the floodgates.
Maybe with this quicker passing game, the line won't matter as much. And they have a veteran, running back. If Frank Gore does decide to come back, which the Patriots love those old running backs. So
they do.
Maybe it'll work out for him. And then Matt
might
Patricia
be able to win a ring out there.
True. And then of course Matt Patricia expected to be the next Lions head coach, which I'm just like,
I guess the Lions are, they love to be mediocre. And I like the quarterback there.
You like Matt Stafford?
I do like Matt Stafford.
Stafford's good. I mean,
he's very good.
I think the problem with them, and I compare them sometimes to, the Knicks, is that the Knicks have started, but the Lions haven't replaced Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson just yet.
Yep.
And until they start looking to replace those people, you're not getting anywhere. KP is a great building block, kind of similar to when you guys drafted Patrick Ewing. I mean, it was a great build. Now you got to build around it, which they're doing. They got to get that Starks. They got to get that Houston. They got to get the Latrell Sprewell after the whole choking incident.
Choking.
But Matt Patricia, hopefully he can get it done. How did you feel when the Cleveland Browns hired Todd Haley as offensive coordinator.
Todd Haley, who is the former offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, I think it's a good move. Keep him in the same division. You know,
I mean, he's going to at least help the Browns win a game next year.
Really, just one.
I mean, if we're gonna do over under 4 games, I'm gonna go under. I'll probably say 3 games. I mean, we both like Kaiser at quarterback. We can see him definitely doing. I mean, other than the drop.
Yeah, that drop. Oh,
other than that drop, they could have won that Week 17 game.
Wow, I can't believe he dropped that ball.
Exactly. Like, other than that drop right there, they could have won that game. And we both said that.
So, with the mock drafts that we've seen, though, they do still take a quarterback.
And the problem is, and that's why, what's his name? Josh Rosen?
Yes.
That's why he was saying he doesn't want to get drafted by the Browns.
So in this mock draft, it's Sam Darnold, who's, they're saying he's not the greatest.
Yeah.
He
could be a project.
I do like.
In fact, they mentioned that too heading into the Senior Bowl.
I do like their pick number 4, taking Minkah Fitzpatrick, if that's the deal that they make. But they need a quarterback. Now, maybe they don't draft somebody. They could use this pick. They can trade down. They can get somebody else. There are going to be a plethora of veterans available. Even Kirk Cousins said he wouldn't mind going to the Browns.
Well, Kirk Cousins is a free agent right now, so.
I mean, could you imagine if they go out and get Kirk Cousins, they can save this pick. Maybe they go out and draft one of the best linemen or draft defensive players.
I mean, your boy, Roquan Smith.
Man, number 4 definitely, but number 1
Not number
overall,
1. Not number 1, but number 4.
Oh my goodness! But they could draft the offensive tackle.
Yep.
One of the offensive linemen. They could do a lot of things if they get a veteran quarterback. I don't think they should draft any more quarterbacks. I think they need a veteran presence because the draft hasn't served them well. I mean, what is it? 20 quarterbacks and counting?
Yes. A lot.
It's getting pretty ridiculous. So they really need to get it together if they want success for Todd
I will agree
Haley.
with that. I will agree with that.
How did you feel when the Giants mentioned that they might be interested in Jack Del Rio as defensive coordinator?
I actually like that move. I think he's been pretty solid as far as like maintaining really good standing defenses. I think that's a really good move for them because that defense was absolutely laughable.
And they're so good. That's
like so bad it makes you want to just go and take a poop. Just go outside and throw up.
Now, I'm sure my cousin is listening. And he actually said this. He said this.
What did he say?
He said JPP is done.
I agree with that statement. I feel like it's time for them to move on.
It's time for him to move on. You really believe that? He can't rush the passer anymore.
It's not the fact that he can't rush the passer. It's he's far past his usage for the Giants for what they're trying to do. I mean, he can still go, but I feel like the defense will only get better once they start getting rid of the fat.
Wow. He's the fat.
Okay, they have to trim the fat. So I'll agree with that. I feel like that they can start making moves once they start doing that.
It's going to be interesting. And I mean, they're positioned in a draft where they could sign somebody that can make that kind of move. Of course, most likely they'll probably take a quarterback unless they can get one of the veterans also. But I guess this next one, I wish the Duke was here. I wish the Duke was here as his Titans hired Mike Vrabel. the former Patriots linebacker, who kind of reminds me of McVay. Young, and this is what we just talked about with the NBA.
Yep.
Young coach, somebody who's going to bring energy. Somebody's going to bring some passion.
I mean, anything is better than the other coach that you have from Rutgers.
He brought negative energy.
Yes.
And he brought negative passion.
Yes.
I hate you, coach. And I don't want to run anymore. But I'm sure the Duke has to be pretty happy with that. It's something that's going to be different. And I think they're going to be good next year.
I mean, possibly he'll talk about that, on this Sunday's edition of Duke It Out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Possibly featuring Duchess.
I mean, I'm not sure if she knows who Mike Vrabel is, but...
she'll still have opinions.
Absolutely. I mean,
but
I'm sure
then again, it could just be a final thought for him.
It could be. In this show, especially if they're talking about something different, could be.
Absolutely.
But the other two notable hires, I mean, I'm not too sure about their body of work, but Cardinals found their replacement with Steve Wilkes, and the Bears hired Matt Nagy. Not familiar completely with their work, but trust the process of those teams.
I mean, eventually there's going to have to be a power shift in the NFL. Eventually the teams that are doing bad will start becoming elite. I mean, we saw that with the Seahawks. We saw that with, a lot of the teams that was at the bottom of the barrel for so many years. And all it just takes is the right moves and the right, coaching system. And suddenly they're a playoff-bound, Super Bowl-bound team. So, I mean, we both say that we love more competition for the NFL. We don't want to keep seeing the same team, the Patriots, in the Super Bowl, a la LeBron James.
I think that's why it was important.
But I mean, but only one of them, end up winning more rings, though.
I think that's why it's important that the Jaguars, the Vikings, the Eagles were in it. It's just because they were different, So if the Eagles are able to pull it off, which, hopefully most people are rooting for the Eagles, it'll be great. All I can hope is that they know to run the ball with LeGarrette Blount instead of throwing a slant.
I see what you did there.
Those bird teams just seem to choke. So,
I mean, I wouldn't say those bird teams, but those Georgia teams. I mean, that's a totally different beast.
Wow. But I mean, I think that was the NFL, sir.
Yeah, I think we are at endgame, good sir. Let's go into our final thoughts, and I'll start off with yourself. Go for it.
Well, not much final thoughts over here.
What?
This week, I think there were just so much hype with wrestling. And of course, I don't want to give too much of it because, I mean, I'm hoping there's going to be some marking out going on. But I was very happy with my Dukies winning last night versus Wake Forest. I continuously troll UNC fans as they lost this week also, which is so wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful.
I see what you did there. Shout out to Mac.
Yeah, they lost to Virginia Tech, I believe that was.
Yes.
A couple of days ago, and I laughed, because you remember all the smack that was being talked this off season.
Of course.
And if we're going to talk about a final thought, we're going to talk about Zion.
Yes.
The new Duke recruit. We have not number 1, not number 2,
nope,
but number 1, 2, and 3 of the 3 top recruits of the next year coming out have all signed with Duke, which means we're back.
People keep asking if the Dukies are back.
Well, guess what? I think we're back.
Hilarious.
But I'm just pretty excited. I think that it's going to be interesting. I'm glad I committed to a team last year, and that team just happens to be the Dukies.
I mean, the decision.
I hope Coach K, if he's listening, I know he's listening out there, I hope he runs more of that 2-3 zone because it seems to just be working better than them playing man. I know that. But Zion Williamson, join the Dukies.
Join the Dukies. Thank you very much, sir. I have one final thought.
For sure.
And it's still going back into football. And you know, we put it out there on the Debates Among Friends Facebook page, facebook.com/Debates Among Friends. Also join the group at Debates Among Friends. The Eagles celebrating winning the NFC.
Yikes.
Like they won the mother flippin' Super Bowl.
Mother flippin' Super Bowl.
I'm going to give this advice because I'm a very, straightforward gentleman when it comes to keeping your eye on the prize. And the Duke would say something like that too. We like to say, don't spike the ball before the game's over. Don't underestimate your opponent. And never celebrate before you have the championship in your hand. Granted, they do have a championship, but I really don't care about conference championships. I don't.
True.
That's just me. The fact that they did so much, and first of all, shout outs to the city of Philadelphia for putting grease on the street post to prevent people from climbing it. Guess what? It didn't work.
Wow. Crisco.
Cooking grease. Old school. But no, it didn't work at all. So, good try. Better enough next time. I would probably recommend something like olive oil or something, like an oil. Something that can really be slick. Yeah, don't do that. Probably shouldn't do that.
That's really terrible.
But, they was doing a lot of stupid things. One thing, for example, was someone actually driven their car up steps. And I believe it's towards where the Rocky Monument was. Took their car and drove it up the steps.
Couldn't just run over there.
Just couldn't run it over. But the biggest moment out of all the craziness that happened after they won was a video that was put out by House of Highlights. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. But it was a gentleman who missed the train and was trying to run to catch said train and hit one of the poles in the train station.
Oh my God.
I was in tears. It was probably the funniest thing I've seen this week so far.
Wow.
And I see some pretty funny stuff.
Wow.
Like the entire media world trying to lose their marbles because Tom Brady might not start for the AFC title game. Come on, guys.
And they were, really, really trying. It was like, oh my God, his hand is in his pocket. Let me see that hand. Let me see that hand.
It's like, look at this. Look at this. Stop it, guys.
It was fine.
But, for me, we're going to do our predictions next week. And I can't wait to do our predictions. I got a lot of things to say. I have a pretty good analogy. I had a chance to speak with, my girlfriend, and she was asking about who I have. And I said, well, reason of this is one thing, reason of this is for another thing, but that's for next week.
Girlfriend.
But that is my final thought. Shout outs to the city of Philadelphia for once again showing why the entire sports world fan base hates you.
Boom.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to call it a night. This is actually another final thought. I probably would have two, but I want to dedicate tonight's track to one of the members of Drama in a Tantrum, who is the artist that we're going to be playing tonight. He found out that he will become a father, so big congrats to him from myself, Doc Ocean, Duke, Mac, and everyone else, except for Chris, because Chris is a pissant. Everyone else here at Debates Among Friends, hope for a healthy baby, and just hope everything goes well with it. So shout outs to you. You know who you are. But tonight's track is from Drum in the Tantrum from their The End album in 2013. The title is called The Power. It's a really good song, actually. Can't wait to play it. Be sure to support our artists. Like we said, every single week, always support our artists. We put the links in the YouTube video for you can check them out. Their Bandcamp pages, their Facebook pages, their social media accounts. Make sure you give them some love because they definitely deserve it. They all work very, very hard. Even the people who do our intro track, Croup Dog, over a year strong, so be sure to support the artists. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com, Debates Among Friends, the group page at Debates Among Friends, the Twitter account at Debates Among Fr. You can follow the doc at TL myself at Kin86. And ladies and gentlemen, I am the Professor John Gotti, your host of Debates Among Friends.
This is Dr. Wednesday Night.
And you, ladies and gentlemen, have been just another victim of facts. Catch you next time. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Peace and love.
Taste the ocean.
Hashtag LESG.
Dear world, I know that it's been a long, long time since we last spoke. Have you been? Well, I've been fine. Slower, getting slower with every turn. Round and around, round and again, the lessons learned. Oh, there you go, eyes to the floor, 'cause your thoughts are breaking your heart. That's just the way of this wide, wild world. They seek out the stones we prize, and our pride sets the size wildfires in the woods at night, burning bright to the same old songs they sing. Bring anyone closer to anything. I don't think if the tower of power should fall and no one heard a thing at all, well, maybe we are just a little bit far from our start, but we're not apart. Power's in your heart. You can honor beyond, you can reap, you can sow up the holes that they leave in you torn. Is there others who say that we made our way, babe, across the universe, just to whisper these words into the ears of our birds and let them all go disperse till everyone's heard, till everyone's heard. When the sky comes down to the ground and the clouds round round at the edge of town, hunker down. When the wind blows hard and soft and the ribbon goes fly through the omens are carry on. When the sun bakes plant and stone and the water wells dry as the goddamn bones in how long. When the snow comes to freeze your tears, nothing left for 100 years. When the cats in the park lick their lips after dark, there I seek out your wife and your dog. Now for the faint of heart, you can all are beyond. You can reap, you can sow the holes that they leave in you torn. Is there others who say that we made our way? Across the universe, just whisper these words into the ears of our birds and let them all go disperse until everyone's heard.